And here we are. What are my favorite 10 movies of 2016? Well, let's find out. Welcome back to the final in a series of videos documenting my favorite 41 movies of 2016. Notice I said favorite, not best. I don't make any kind of assessment that says these are the absolute best. All I do is say these are the ones I like the most. These are my favorites. These are the ones I would put in again that I really enjoyed watching. This is my list, and we're down to number 10 through number 1. Let's kick it off with number 10. Yeah, these movies are the best of the best. If there are any flaws in them, they're very minor. I didn't give any A+s this year, but these are all A's or maybe slight A-, and we'll start with number 10, Hell or High Water. Wow. This movie surprised me. Jeff Bridges, I know. He's going to be great. Was not expecting Chris Pine to be this great. Didn't realize Ben Foster had this in him, although I probably should have. They are phenomenal in this movie, and the performances and the story is compelling and interesting. You feel for these guys. You understand what they're going through. You get the ins of the out. There are moments of Jeff Bridges' performance in this movie that are downright transcendent. He is just so good at what he does, living in some of those moments. There's a specific moment involving laughter that is in my top movie moments of 2016. It's just that kind of stuff that pops off the screen at you. Hell or High Water is a great film. In at number 9, it's A Monster Calls. I'm becoming increasingly aware that I may have liked this more than most people. I thought it was phenomenal. What a beautifully told story about how we tell stories and see the world in order to deal with emotion, especially from the perspective of a child. I don't see many movies that capture child perspective clearly, and this movie seems to really do that. Plus, it's beautifully structured in a way that I really appreciated, animated in a way that was gorgeous. Liam Neeson is perfect for the voice of this tree monster that helps this kid through what he's going through. I found it incredibly, deeply moving, and it's a high recommend for me. Speaking of incredibly moving, in at number 8 is Lion. Man, I was not ready for the emotion that this movie caused. This is a powerful film. If you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend it. Of course, the subject matter is already deeply emotional, a lost child, which whether you're a parent or not, you can kind of understand the emotion in that. Although, as a parent, I think it does offer that deeper level of context, and maybe that's why it hit me in the way it did. Plus, these are great performances. Dev Patel is wonderful. Nicole Kidman is wonderful. Sonny Pawar, who plays the young Saru, is absolutely incredible and believable in this. I thought that this movie, especially as a true story, possibly had more direct impact on my heart than any movie I saw this year. High recommend for Lion. In at number 7, it's Finding Dory. I think I like this more than most people. Surprise, surprise, Pixar stuff. I admit I have a bias towards Pixar. I think they tell great stories. Finding Dory amazed me in its ability to tell kind of the same search story that the first one did, and yet tell it in a way that was emotionally impacting in a different avenue. The stuff on disability here is really important, really valuable. In the stuff on patience and waiting and never stop looking, that stuff is incredible as well. It's interesting to have it back to back with Lion because they are similar in that way, but I loved Finding Dory. I thought it was hilarious as well. Some great side characters. Ed O'Neill as the octopus was wonderful. I think it's a beautiful movie, and I have no problem putting it at number 7. We will continue our animation-laden top 7 of 2016 with Zootopia, another incredible movie with an incredible message. It's fun, it's visually interesting, and the stuff it has to say about our culture and the us versus them, specifically in dealing with racism, this movie, I think, has some very racial undertones, is so powerful and so beautifully and expertly laid in the movie that I couldn't help but be impressed. I love Zootopia. I think it's well deserving to be here at number 6. We'll take a brief intermission from talking about animated films to talk about my number 5 movie of the year, 10 Cloverfield Lane. I love love this movie. This is the perfect example of what Hitchcock would be doing if he were making movies today. Aside from maybe the Cloverfield tag, the bunker stuff is perfect Hitchcockian thriller kind of stuff. I love the director, Dan Trachtenberg. I've been following him even before he was a director, so there is some bias there probably. But he does such a great job, and John Goodman is great in this. I've seen this movie 3 or 4 times now, and it still puts me on the edge of my seat, even though I know exactly what's going to happen. That's because it's great suspense, thriller, directing, and I love it. And we're back to the animation. Moana, in at number 4 for me. I love this movie. I love the music. I think it's memorable, it's singable. I love Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and everything he does, apparently, including this part. I think it's the most fun Disney sidekick kind of thing since probably Robin Williams' Genie. And I'm not necessarily putting it exactly on that level, but it's really good. I love the way this movie concludes. I love where it goes. I love the empowerment angle of it. I just love everything about Moana. I promise I usually don't have this many animated films in my top 10. It's just been that good of a year as far as I'm concerned. But I got no qualms about it. Number 3, Kubo and the Two Strings. I adore this movie. I love the animation style. For one, it's gorgeous, beautiful, different stop motion, CG kind of combo, mostly stop motion. But it's a really gorgeous movie that completely deserves its nomination for visual effects. Let's just put it that way. Add to that the fact that I think we're getting good voice performances here that match the characters. We're getting an interesting story here that is both moving as well as thematically deep. There's some very interesting things that it does towards the end that play on your expectations that I loved. I just had a beautiful and wonderful time with Kubo, and I cannot wait to watch it again. We're almost there now. In at number 2, it is Arrival. This movie caught me off guard. I went into it expecting kind of a sci-fi, kind of thriller kind of movie. It is not that at all. It is an intellectual science fiction movie that is more about linguistics than it is about interstellar warfare, if that makes sense. I thought this movie was genius. Beautiful. Amy Adams is incredible in it. I think she does great work here. I think it's very clever. I think it's very thoughtful. And beyond that, it plays with the audience expectations in a way that I was not expecting and kind of blew me away. I love the structure and the way this movie plays out in a way that very few movies matched for me in 2016, and that's why it's at number 2. And here we are, my favorite movie of 2016. Yeah, it's La La Land. I'm still in euphoria after watching this, well, for the 5th time, just the other day. I think this movie is a perfect throwback to a type of movie that we just haven't seen done this well in a long time. I'm talking Singing in the Rain, my favorite movie of all time, done well. Now, granted, these aren't as great of singers or dancers as some of those movies were, but they are perfectly fine, and it's not about hitting each step or note right. It's about hitting the joy right, and the joy in these scenes is absolutely tangible. I loved it. And beyond that, I loved what it had to say about the sacrifice of chasing a dream, about what that looks like when dreams aren't fulfilled and when dreams are fulfilled. I think the finish of this movie is as beautiful a finish as anything I've seen. I love La La Land, and I think it well deserves to be my favorite movie of the year. Well, thanks for checking out my favorite 41 movies. I will also tell you I'm going to be releasing my top 100 movies of all time. You can see if La La Land or Arrival cracks that list. I don't know that I'll be doing videos for those, but I will release those on yourmoviefriend.com here next week as well. And just to let you know, you can check out all the reviews there too, yourmoviefriend.com. You can also subscribe at YouTube, leave comments. I would love that kind of stuff. If you want to contact me directly and chat movies, Twitter's probably the best way to do that. Aaron Dicer, AARONDICER. And of course, you can subscribe to the podcast as well. SiftPop, SiftPop is the podcast. As always, I'll give you 5 extra seconds to hit subscribe by clicking the logo right down in this corner. And please, let me know where you think my list was right, wrong, what should have been on there that wasn't. Nocturnal animals, some people are saying. I'm just saying whatever kind of comments you have, put them in there and let's have some discussion. I'd love to do it. And I've extended your 5 seconds to hit subscribe to start now.